spiritual and somehow also fable-like. Not everything that the Gospel says today is a historical account. But let us understand, why do we celebrate this feast today? I read again this wonderful passage from Matthew. And behold, the star they had seen at its rising preceded them until it came and stopped over the place where the child was. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house they saw the child with his mother Mary. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Today you know that the Orthodox Church celebrates Christmas. This is Christmas today for Orthodox, because they really celebrate today the Epiphany, which is the manifestation of God. We use this term in English, you know, when you have a great idea or you had a revelation or something, just, you know, during an exam, you don't know the answers, and then all of a sudden, I had an epiphany, you know, something came to you, and you're able to write somehow, scribble some kind of answers on your paper. Well, this is the manifestation of God today. How does God manifest in our life? This is what the Gospel of today is telling us. First of all, the story is not about the three kings. The story is about a journey of the Spirit, and a very complex and at times complicated journey of faith, which leads to Christ. The end of the journey is Christ. We don't know how it begins. We don't know the tortuous ways that will bring us there, but we know that the end, the star is this image, leads us to Christ. And it's very interesting because this is how faith has been ever since described in the Bible. The very first image of faith in the Bible, the strongest image of faith, is Abraham. Abraham was the father of faith for all religions. He's a man who one day is told by God, who he doesn't know, he's never met. He hears this voice telling him, leave everything, father, mother, brothers, sisters, land, possessions, everything, and follow me. I will show you where to go. And he starts on a journey. He's already very old, in order to follow God. He doesn't know where. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know who this God is. He's a bit crazy. And the wife tells him, Sarah, you went mad. Where are we going? You left everything. The gospel of today is a reflection of that experience. A journey of faith. Which is our journey. There are three images of journeys in this gospel. The first one is Herod. He's a man full of himself, full of pride, who doesn't need God, who is the ruler of his own life. So if God is there or not, he's not interested really. He wants to do away with God. That is why he's planning to kill this apparent Messiah. And we have many Herods today who take decisions like Herod, even killing people and justifying themselves because they know better than God. Herod will never find God. All dictatorships are based on this concept. The idea of God is discarded because we can survive without it. From communism and Marxism to the various forms of extreme right-wing philosophies. The second image, which is, well, none of us for sure are part of this first journey. The second image is that of the priests, not just us, consecrated priests, but all of us. These are people who know very well the scriptures. They know where the Messiah will be born, and yet they also don't start on a journey. And you know, I think most of us may fall into this category at times. Most of us grew up in the church. All of us today are in church. We have notions about God, but at a certain point, we stopped journeying towards Him. Or we took a different direction. And I tell you something which is very close to my heart, and on which I'm working, and God helping me, and maybe will do something good. There is a lot of young people who come to church, not just young people, even couples and elderly people who come to church. They don't actually know why. We are going through this phase of our life in which we go to church because we ought to, because we know that it's important, because we know that this is what God wants from us. But deep down, lots of people today don't actually know why are we supposed to be here. One time I asked one of the young people I know, why don't you tell your parents to, because it's very early to go to Mass at this time, why don't you tell them you get tired and you don't listen anymore to the readings and you want Mass later in the day or in the afternoon, why don't you tell them? And she told me what the answer of the parents was, which is very common. I heard it many times. The parents told her, my house, my rules. You're not the one making the rules. So the idea is, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, I'm just giving you a fact. The idea is, why do I go to church? Because my parents are saying so. Why are you going to church, married man, married woman? Because your parents told you so. Is this something good? Of course it is. Is it enough to meet Christ? No, it's not. We are on a journey. So the real image that the church is giving us today is that of these kings. Sometimes, these past days, I've had a few days of break, a little vacation. When I go on vacation, I always have fantastic encounters with people who are far from the church. And because I was on the beach, I don't usually I don't go dressed as a priest in the beach. People will find that weird. Though I told a friend of mine, who is a designer, if he can make swimming trunks for me, all black, with a white little thing that looks like a priestly swimming trunk. We're working on it. So even by the beach, I will have swimming trunks with a cross on one of my legs, so people will know there is a priest by the beach. I always meet a lot of people, and it's very interesting and I love it, because when they don't know you're a priest, because you're just, you're in a beach, so they start conversing about you, and the question of God always comes up. So people are, they lower their guard, they can be free, and they start sharing about God, and about the church, and about the Pope, and about bishops, and about priests. So I let them speak, and it's wonderful, because at the end of the conversation, when we end, I tell them my side of the story, they ask me usually, so what do you do what do you do in life? Well, you're in the Philippines. Well, I'm a priest. Right? But it's very interesting because I have seen, and this is the real image of this day of the Epiphany, many men and women are looking for God. Some of them are very far. Some of them, they forgot about Him. They were in church and they left the church because disappointed by themselves, by priests, by the church, and they are trying to find a way back into God. The feast of today is telling us something very important. Wherever you are on the journey, maybe you're very close, maybe you were close and now you're going back, maybe your faith was very strong before and now kind of got lukewarm. Sometimes you have doubts about the faith. Many doubts come from moral teaching of the church. Homosexuality, same-sex marriages, and why can't we have premarital sex, and why is the church telling me this and that? So we have many doubts, but we want to be faithful to God. And yet, we find it hard. And sometimes we realize ourselves, instead of getting closer to the light, somehow our doubts, our fears, our uncertainties, our critiques are taking us on a different road. Don't you worry. It's a wonderful thing. You are on a journey. Your journey is different from mine. The Feast of today is telling us that what brought you here, what brought that person by the beach to tell me, Father, I never thought about it, but now that you say, I feel it in myself, There is a light, which is the light of Christ. What we are celebrating today, the Epiphany, there is a light in every heart of every woman, of every man on earth. And it reveals itself in different ways. One thing is important. Don't give up on the journey. Don't get stuck where you are. If you are close, get closer. If you are far, one step ahead. But listen to this light within you that is telling you, look, I'm here. I came for you. I want to show myself to you. And this is the greatest happiness of life. The gospel of today describes it thus. They were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. When you meet Christ in your life, when you have a little bit of a glimpse of Christ, or when you see Him completely like today, it is the greatest moment of joy a human being can have. So I invite you really to recognize Jesus today among us. In all our doubts, our fears, our inconsistencies, but today, tell Him, Lord, I believe that you are here, and I want to continue on my journey towards you, towards your light.